Hurricane Opal, Path of Destruction. Tonight, WJHG takes you on an unforgettable and unsettling journey. Take a look through the eyes of your Northwest Florida neighbors, emergency crews, and the News Channel 7 storm team as Hurricane Opal approaches the coast, makes landfall, then leaves a path of destruction in her wake.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
For years, Panama City and the immediate area had dodged the so-called big bullet. Many worried that the panhandle had become too lackadaisical and in its preparation, and that people had forgotten or didn't know how serious a hurricane could be.
That was until Wednesday, October 4th, 1996, when a storm named Opal burst into our lives. Many Northwest Florida residents already suffered through a very rough time when Hurricane Erin swept into the Pensacola area late in the summer.
And while it made a big impact on residents west of here, many Bay County residents survived in pretty good shape. Erin did cause damage, but not enough to prepare most people in our area for what was to come in October.
It was Tuesday, October 3rd, when it began sinking in for many people here that there was a good chance that Opal would affect Bay County and the surrounding areas. The storm was gaining strength and picking up steam, and people were getting ready just in case. Susanna Packing was there.
There's no reason for anyone in Bay County, to evacuate or do anything like that at this time. They do need to do the normal preparations and be prepared, because probably sometime tomorrow we will be asking for that if the storm stays on its present track.
State emergency management officials are also on alert for Hurricane Opal, preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. They're urging all Panhandle residents to make emergency plans should the storm hit close to home.
Everybody should be getting ready right now, a family preparedness type of thing that we need to do right now, and don't delay, because if everybody delays in getting their supplies together, then of course you get the traffic, you get the stores being very busy, and you have the supplies being depleted in the stores. So right now is a time for everybody to get ready for the potential of Hurricane Opal.
From the looks of these shelves at the 23rd Street Publix, folks in Panama City are taking Opal seriously. Both water and batteries are in demand. Hurricane veterans say preparedness is key.
You have no clue. You don't know what's going to happen with it, so you got to be prepared. I'd rather be prepared than, be sitting there going, wow, I'm really hungry and nobody will give me anything.
Not everybody is running from Hurricane Opal and the high waves she's bringing. Red warning flags are flying over Panama City Beach, but some folks are actually rushing to the rough waters.
Yeah, it's going to be big waves. Can't wait.
Others are heading in the opposite direction. Gas stations around Panama City are busy tonight as people fill up their cars waiting for the queue to head north.
By early Wednesday afternoon, Opal was already a Category 3 hurricane, winds topping 110 miles an hour. The estimated time of arrival was 9 o'clock that night.
While many Bay County residents were evacuating or battening down the hatches, law officers were on the street as usual. But instead of looking for lawbreakers, they were trying to keep people off the streets. News Channel 7's Donna Bell rode along with Panama City Beach Police Chief Lee Sullivan and brings you an up-close look as Opal began her wrath.
Unfortunate. You have to excuse me. The power lines are sort of like snakes. I'm afraid of them.
Probably a good time to head back.
As power lines fall to Hurricane Opal, Panama City Beach Police Chief Lee Sullivan watches in horror. The sight of waves breaking well over light post on the city pier is one the chief has never seen before in his 25 years patrolling here. Not even during Hurricane Eloise, which ripped through Panama City Beach back in 1975.
I don't have a good feeling that this isn't going to be as bad or worse.
This is the kind of damage we expect to see a lot more of here on Panama City Beach. Already power lines down, traffic signals dangling. It's just expected to get a lot worse as Hurricane Opal moves through. And it does get worse. Police frantically tried to clear Front Beach Road, where the waves are bleeding onto the street, littering it with chunks of lumber and debris. Some who work in a nearby restaurant try to help.
That's not good for the people get that road, you understand? And then now the people
You're trying to clean up the road?
That's right, yeah.
As we drive through the beach, one message is clear. Hurricane Opal will certainly leave an ugly mark on the world's most beautiful beach. This is your beach. How does it make you feel to see something like this tearing up your beach?
Sick. Sick's a good word. Helpless is a good word. Helpless and sick are two good words.
On Panama City Beach, Donna Bell, News Channel 7.
Whenever a major storm does approach, many volunteers pitch in to open emergency shelters where all of us can go for protection, food, and water. Shelters here in Bay County were set up in schools, a couple of fire stations, and some other buildings. And as News Channel 7's Laura Von Lowe visited one of these harbors of safety.
Here at Mosley High School, they're standing outside, they're lying in cots in the main hallway as well as the smaller ones. Everywhere you look, people young and old chose to ride out the storm in a shelter. Many we talked to were staying on Panama City Beach and took the hurricane warning seriously, including George Hare, a native of Toronto, Canada. He says he's just glad the shelter was here.
Oh, I think you do a wonderful job, especially the Red Cross. And you have a medical place in there, cots for them and everything.
Red Cross volunteers are working feverishly, trying to make everyone here as comfortable as possible, but with the big crowds, it won't be easy.
It's very hot here because there's so many people in the building. They have the air conditioning going, but as you can feel, it's not doing very much.
So how many people does that mean you have in here right now?
We're maxing out about at 900 now.
Even though the shelter here at Mosley is at or even above capacity, Red Cross officials say they will have enough water and food to get everyone through this hurricane crisis. As for the kids, well, some are too little to understand about the looming Opal. The bigger kids say, well, the shelter's all right, beats school, but there's not a whole lot to do here.
It's all right. It gets a little boring.
What do you think about it so far?
Boring.
Boring or not, most here are glad to be at a shelter, and they tell us the only thing to do now is sit back and hope for the best. In Bay County, Laura Von Lowe, News Channel 7.
And while people did search for safety in shelters and homes, the scene outside was frightening Wednesday night. Many of us know through experience that the huge sea swells coming out of the water often cause more damage than the high winds themselves. Roads and yards quickly flooded in many areas, and the waters would later rush into homes and trailers. Trees and power lines were blown down, windows were blown to bits, roofs caved in. Many roads became impassable because of water and wind-blown debris.
Much of Bay County spent late Wednesday night without power or water, trying to make it through a desperate situation and hoping against hope that things wouldn't get any worse.
When daylight came, a few cars began wandering on the streets to check out the damage. Hundreds of homes had been beaten to a pulp. Donna Bell picks up the story in Panama City Beach.
The destruction stretches from the east end of Panama City Beach to the west. One by one, homeowners are allowed back into their houses to survey the damage. Some houses are untouched, while others are destroyed.
I did not expect it to be this bad. Not here.
Do you feel like you're one of the lucky ones?
Very lucky. Very lucky.
That's terrible. Like, it's amazing just the amount of devastation that has gone on.
Water flows freely from busted pipes, mixing with layers of splintered boards and twisted metal. Where I'm standing used to be Spyglass Road, a road washed away by Hurricane Opal. Now all that's left are downed power lines, broken pipes, and broken homes. Some who refused to evacuate actually listened and watched as Hurricane Opal demolished the beach.
We watched the slabs over here. We watched them deteriorate. I watched him lose his railings and everything over there. Went through about 11:30, and I didn't realize the erosion was that bad at that time.
But it was bad enough to destroy hotels and wipe out luxury dream homes. Luxury boats are also demolished. At Bay Point, part of the marina is crushed, and this yacht has sank to the bottom. The west end of the beach seemed to fare even worse, some homes having only a shower and a bar of soap still intact. Chunks of Front Beach Road are now washed away, and some beachside restaurants are destroyed. While Panama City Beach suffers loss of property, at least there is no reported loss of life. In Panama City Beach, Donna Bell, News Channel 7.
The downtown Panama City area is usually protected during storms. Downtown sits on the bay, safe from high winds in most storms. But this was no ordinary storm. Susanna Packing has more.
You've heard EOC officials discuss the condition of Beach Drive in downtown Panama City. Well, this is how the area looks now. Trees uprooted on power lines and on houses. Sean McNeil spent the night in Tallahassee. He came home this morning to this tree that looks as though it's seeking shelter.
I'm glad I have insurance.
Just off Beach Drive, sights turned bizarre. This truck looks as though it was flipped over on its side, but actually...
Apparently what happened with this truck is the driver did not see the power lines that were covered with water, and the power lines got wrapped around the wheel axle.
I was going about 2 miles an hour, and next thing I know, I'm going 0. I was on my side, unsnatched my son, put him between my legs. I was standing on the driver's side window, took the baby seat out, pushed the door open, wedged it with the baby seat, climbed out, reached down, snatched him.
From overturned trucks to overturned boats, this was a scene at the city marina late last night. The water on the pier was over 2 feet in some places. Now you can see how the wind and rain toyed with the marina, peeling away metal like a banana peel, turning boats end over end, and chipping away at structures.
This area of the marina that's been washed out is a result of just continuous hours of waves crashing over the marina.
Some folks actually weathered the entire storm in their vessels. Chester Walters says the night had its frightening moments.
Most of the time, I mean, there were gusts down here that were quite high. I mean, I have no way of measuring them, but I feel confident they were in excess of 100 miles an hour.
But now that Opal and her winds and rains are gone, folks in downtown Panama City face the same tasks as the rest of Northwest Florida, cleaning up after her.
That man upstairs was watching us.
Susanna Packing, News Channel 7.
Well, it didn't take long for Hurricane Opal to earn a distinctive place in Florida hurricane history. By Thursday afternoon, it had been tagged as the second costliest storm ever in the state. Damage estimates were pegged at nearly $2 billion. And like the Panama City area, Destin suffered a big piece of that damage. News Channel 7's John Sherman has that story.
It's hard to believe it's really Destin. What used to be a scenic drive on Old Highway 98 is barely passable now. The snow-white sandy beaches that once rolled up to the road, gone. Replaced instead by a jagged 15-foot drop to gray, hard-packed sand, riddled with debris.
I'm just amazed, the destruction. You know, it's doesn't look like the same place as it did a day ago. The loss is unbelievable.
Like so many folks here, Holly Garucci and Mark Matheson spent the day winding their way through the rubble, looking at the new landscape Opal left behind. But even the pictures of what's happened here in Destin can't tell the true story. Just 24 hours ago, across from this hotel was a boardwalk, went all the way down to the beach. And over here, right next to the boardwalk, what you see right now is a pile of wood on the beach. What was just yesterday a 3,000 square foot house. A block away, a mailbox hints at another house washed away. Almost every house or condo on Destin's pricey waterfront is damaged, most of them severely. If Opal had lasted just one more hour, the Gulf surely would have gobbled up this house. And next door, well, who knows what sat here yesterday. But people like Mike Beruggi aren't that surprised by the damage. He rode the hurricane out and figured it was going to be bad.
It was so awesome because when the wind was blowing through the houses like that, it reminded me of the hurricane scene in The Wizard of Oz with Dorothy. And here the house has landed. Look at it. It's like in the movies.
I just, you know, you really can't believe how much damage and stuff really is, how these winds have really just wiped out this whole area.
No telling what it'll cost to repair the damage here, and for some homeowners, that's really secondary. A hurricane named Opal took their dreams, even some of their memories.
In Walden County, many people who live near the beach found the day after the storm it wasn't too much to come home to. News Channel 7's Laura Von Lowe found some widespread damage there.
Everywhere you look, crumpled piles of what used to be houses line the beach. Out in plain view are scattered possessions. Items too large to be carried out were left to do battle with Opal, and most lost that battle. Hazel Morris came to stare at the house she just lost in Dunallen Beach. Her heart is crushed just like her house, but she is trying to keep her chin up.
What else can I do? What else can you do?
Looking at some of this widespread destruction, it's hard to believe that anything even near the beach wouldn't have been destroyed. But if Opal proved anything, it's that hurricanes are indiscriminate. There are houses very near here that were left virtually untouched.
These houses down here lost a front.
Jerry and Myrna Wilson are counting their blessings. They live near the beach in Santa Rosa Beach, but weathered the storm rather well.
And had a little bit of rain coming in through the upper bathroom in our master suite, where we had lost a portion of the roof, and that was about it.
In fact, when they took a morning walk, they were shocked to see the widespread damage all around them.
It's ruined a lot of houses. It's destroyed our beach and the houses.
When Opal retreated, she took a lot of the beach with her. It will be a long time before this area returns to its former beauty. In Walton County, Laura Von Lowe, News Channel 7.
While Panama City and areas to the west were hard hit by Opal, the storm was equally as unkind to our neighbors to the east. News Channel 7's Bobby Ray Cardwell headed to Mexico Beach early Thursday and came back with these alarming pictures.
The waves in Mexico Beach are relatively calm right now, but last night they ripped through this concrete seawall as if it were balsa wood. And the houses, supposed to be protected behind them, were destroyed. Many people who live here could only comfort each other as they walked through the debris. One of the hardest hit places was the El Governor Motel, a landmark of Mexico Beach.
You've been here for some time. You've seen a lot of hurricane storms pass through. How would you compare this one?
Worst one we've ever had.
This is my first. We're going to build back, just like Mr. Baxter said. We're going to clean up and go on.
Have you seen the damage to the rest of the beach?
Yes, we have.
How's it?
It's devastating.
Other parts of the beach other than the motel were also hit very hard. Gas lines and water lines are visible in the streets. The debris is everywhere. This couple spent the night in Tallahassee. They listened to the warnings about just how bad Hurricane Opal was going to get. They couldn't believe the destruction when they got back.
Oh, no, we knew to leave. Everybody had to leave. And so we went to Tallahassee last night. So we came back and found this.
You were surprised when you came back?
Very surprised.
And we're coming back too. No utilities, no septic tank. The whole front's gone. So,
It's almost medieval, isn't it?
isn't it?
Almost as far as the eye can see, there's nothing but destruction here on Mexico Beach. Some of the debris is hard to recognize. This funny thing behind me is a septic tank. It's been exposed and it's leaking all over the beach. County workers say the damage is so extensive, they don't know where to start first.
Clearing debris off the road, cutting the trees out of the way that's fell on the road, trying to keep the roadways open.
It'll be quite some time before this place is back to normal.
It'll be a long time before it's back in order, yes, sir.
Mexico Beach police say they've been keeping a close eye, keeping a lookout for looters, and they have a message for people who want to come to the beach to see the damage.
Right now, the best thing is just stay in their house. If they need to go to the store, get gasoline, they can come out. Mexico Beach is still open. We just don't want them walking down the beach and walking up to individual houses and getting in the way as far as a safety hazard.
Like many other places hit hard by Hurricane Opal, it may be weeks, maybe even months, before Mexico Beach is back to normal.
Remarkably, no lives were claimed in Mexico Beach.
And just to the east of there, over in Gulf County, Opal brought some havoc to Cape San Blas, leveling part of the cape and severing the peninsula into an island. News Channel 7's Donna Bell surveyed some of the worst damage on the Cape, and she followed one couple as they returned to their home for the first time after the storm.
I'm seeing our place yet. It's down here about 3 miles.
We're very optimistic. I mean, we've seen a lot of devastation, but until we see to the contrary, we think we're going to be in pretty good shape.
John and Jean Staples are anxiously awaiting to find out for the first time
if Hurricane Opal spared their home on Cape San Blas.
I think we're going to be all right.
You have a lot of faith.
Yeah, I do.
But it's hard to believe Mrs. Staples has faith after seeing what her neighbors are going through.
I'm lucky to be alive. Thankful for that. I don't know. I have mixed emotions. I really don't know how to feel about it because this is my permanent home. So, kind of sad.
At least, you know, we can salvage our personal belongings. At least it's not out in the Gulf. A lot of other people are in a lot worse shape.
This section of Cape San Blas looks like just a long stretch of tattered beach, but in fact, 6 homes once stood on this land. But Hurricane Opal washed away the entire structures, lumber and all, literally cleaning the beach. It would have been a long walk for you. The Staples keep on walking towards their home. They can't drive there. Hurricane Opal washed away most of the road, C30A, turning what was a peninsula into an island. Their neighbors are left with little or nothing. A bookcase is the only thing left standing in this house. It's not much farther before the Staples finally approach the moment of truth. This used to be your road?
Yeah, this is our drive.
Well, when he was building this thing, he didn't spare any problem, trouble, work, whatever, to brace these things, and I believe it's paid off. And that place, oh, that was a beautiful place.
Well, this is a boardwalk. It went out over the dunes and a stairway down to the beach, but it's all gone. It's probably back up there.
But there's your house.
But our house is still standing. And for that, we are grateful.
It's one of the few stories in Cape San Blas with a happy ending. In Gulf County, Donna Bell, News Channel 7.
While the most apparent damage can come from high winds and sea swells along the Gulf, much of the lingering effect of a hurricane can be found farther inland. The towns of Lynn Haven and Southport are nearly surrounded by bay water. Hundreds of homes found themselves flooded by Opal. Donna Bell caught up with residents who are trying to recover.
From the outside, these homes look okay, but inside, it's a different story. Hurricane Opal washed several feet of water into houses in the Lynn Haven and Southport areas. The North Shore community is just one of many that are now drying out in the afternoon sun. Mattresses, clothing, linens, and appliances, anything that may be dried out and salvaged, is now strewn across front yards.
I went to the back of the house for maybe 2 minutes, and I come back and the other 6 people was coming in the house because it was up there on the porch. It was just that fast. It was fast.
Martha Cox describes the terrifying moment when Hurricane Opal washed 3 feet of water into her home. She was inside with her family when Opal hit. They had no idea that within a matter of minutes, the bay, which is a block and a half away, would start flowing into their living room. What's even worse than the floodwaters is the sewage. Sewage lines broke, filling the Cox's home with loads of waste. You can actually see the line where the water and sewage filled the Cox's home. The Coxes and many other families in the Lynn Haven and Southport areas didn't evacuate because they didn't expect the storm surge to get this bad. But it did. And now many homes like this one may have to be condemned, and many families are having to start over.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
I wish there's something else I could do for you.
Insurance agents like this one from Geico are traveling from house to house trying to help customers.
Up here in Lynn Haven, they kind of got pushed on the back burner, so that's why I'm up here. I'm a resident here, and just felt like I need to get to these people in a hurry.
He's been able to help Mrs. Cox with her car insurance, but her biggest concern is her house. While she has homeowners insurance, she doesn't have flood insurance, and her neighbor, Joyce White, just found out that some homeowners' policies may not help these flood victims at all.
If you have homeowners and it's considered rising water, then your homeowners does not cover it. You have to be covered under flood insurance. So for people without flood insurance, then I guess they would go to the FEMA disaster relief kind of thing.
Many of these folks don't know what the next step is for them. Right now, their main concerns are just drying out what's left of their homes, getting hot meals from help stations like this one, and counting their few blessings.
It'll be okay. I got my life and the life of the people that was in the house with me, and the love of all of them, and what else can you ask for, really?
In Bay County, Donna Bell, News Channel 7.
After the storm passes, there's a great need for shelter, food, water, and other supplies. Volunteers from the Salvation Army, the Red Cross, and countless other groups joined in the effort to provide the basic necessities for many folks.
By Friday, the National Guard and other relief agencies had set up over 12 comfort stations. Reporter Ben Roberts visited one of them at the Panama City Mall.
It's a commodity nearly as valuable as gold these days, and the best place to mine for ice is a comfort station.
Real bad. We've been looking for it for about 2 days.
You're glad to get it?
Yes, sir.
The ice supply may be running short, but there's plenty of water at this comfort station. This truck has more than 6,500 gallons of water. All you have to do is bring your own container, and you can get as much as you need.
Indian River Transport sent 15 trucks filled with fresh water from Tallahassee to disaster areas, but you can get more than just ice and water here.
You guys hungry, or you need some ice, or what? We got some sandwiches, soda.
Salvation Army volunteers from Fort Lauderdale are serving 3 meals a day to anyone who needs to eat.
Earlier this morning we've had breakfast with pancakes and eggs, and for lunch we're having sandwiches, and this afternoon we'll have more sandwiches and some hot meals.
Put it this way, God's blessed me and my life's great. And if somebody else, I can do something to help somebody else, that's why I'm here.
It's just fun work. I mean, you help other people, and you just don't ask the price for the reward, it's joy.
Yeah, it just makes you feel better, you know. Just get up there and do something for someone else.
And the people without power, or worse, without homes, are grateful for the help.
It's great to have Salvation Army and Red Cross and all that. I don't know what we'd do without them. Really.
Disaster victims won't have to do without them. Red Cross and Salvation Army volunteers will be here as long as they're needed.
God bless you. Have a good day.
Thank you. God bless you too.
In Panama City, Ben Roberts, News Channel 7.
2 days after Opal, some people were able to assess the damage on their property.
While thousands had much work to do, many of them were thankful that Opal didn't do more damage where they lived. Many of these people were taking care of post-hurricane chores on Friday, and John Sherman was there.
The sound of driving rain and whipping wind that was Opal has been replaced by a new sound. All over Northwest Florida, folks are cleaning up. Robert Biano lives in the North Lagoon area of the beach. He's got 3 trees down, 2 of them on top of his house. You seem to be taking these couple of trees in your house in pretty good stride.
It's pretty good. It's not too bad. Being here, I was lucky. I was able to get up and cut them out, patch the holes before it flooded the house.
Well aware it could have been worse.
It could have been a whole lot worse, yes.
Fortunately for Biano, he's got a friend with a chainsaw and a little know-how when it comes to hurricane cleanup. A lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Tree cutting's rough, dirty, hot. It's worse than concrete.
Dan Ingram lives on St. Andrews Bay. One look at the house, and you know he's got his work cut out for him. There's the front wall to replace, the boathouse, and like so many people in Northwest Florida, Ingram is spending the day picking up water-soaked carpet. How is that going? How is your psyche going with all this, how you handling it?
Just handling it. I mean, you do it. Everybody says, do you want to live here anymore? And I said, yes, I love the water. This is the only place I want to live. And, it's not irreparable.
Like everybody else, you get new carpet.
Right. Just
build a new wall.
Hey, I've been wanting new carpet. I've been figuring that if I just was patient, nature would take care of that for me.
Well, by Friday, many folks were able to survey the property damage, were able to take a look at what happened.
But many other people found out it would be days before they could inspect their places. Holiday Island is a popular resort area, and it was so devastated that people found out on Friday they wouldn't be allowed into the island until next week. Laura Von Lowe was there.
Big, beautiful boats tossed ashore and buildings reduced to rubble. These are the scenes today on Holiday Isle, the destruction left in the wake of Hurricane Opal.
Unbelievable.
From across the harbor, Judy Shelton tries desperately to see if anything is left of her townhouse there.
We can see our townhome. It is there. We just can't get in it, and that makes me feel so relieved and so much better that it's there.
But there's just no way to get over there right now.
Like Holiday Isle, authorities are keeping people from crossing the Destin Bridge. At this point, residents can only wonder what they'll find on the other side. The roads here are likely to be closed for a long time. Just a few miles on the other side of this bridge is another bridge, and in between, we're told, is mass destruction, where the Gulf and the Bay have actually come together, washing away a lot of what was once Okaloosa Island. Curious onlookers gawk at the destruction. Tourists who just a few days ago might have had dinner in the Lucky Snapper's downstairs restaurant, which is now demolished, or taken a fishing trip on a charter boat like the Pescador 3. The boat's protective harbor has been washed away, as have the docks that once used to line the shore. Jackie Arnold, the boat's owner, can hardly believe her eyes.
You see it other places, you see it in the news, but what happens to you, and you see it just firsthand when you're emotionally attached to it as well as financially. It's just overcomes you.
Slowly but surely, the rebuilding process here will begin. What Opal destroyed in one night will take months to rebuild.
When we last told you about the role of law enforcement during the Opal ordeal, we showed you how officers helped clear the streets before the storm hit.
Rest assured, they continue to work throughout the storm and after the storm, too, directing traffic, looking for looters, and watching for price gougers, all important jobs. Law officers came from across the state to help our local people. And on Saturday, News Channel 7's John Sherman rode with deputies from Marion County who were helping from the air.
Down the street at the Beach Watch Shopping Center, help of a different kind, the kind that flies on loan from the Sheriff's Office in Marion County.
In a case like this, one Sheriff's Office, one county does not have the resources to be able to handle the situation. So fortunately, we all pool together our resources and take care of one another in times like this.
Lieutenant Keith Fender and Pilot Pat Crippen have spent the last couple of days assessing the damage along the beach, and they'll be the first to tell you only from a bird's eye view can you fully appreciate the damage along the waterfront. Damage so severe it's hard to recognize which hotel is which on Front Beach Road. But pilots Fender and Crippen are looking at more than just the damage here. They're looking for people, anyone who might need help.
Our initial missions were to go into the areas and make sure there were people that were cut off, that needed help, that they had water, if they needed to be evacuated to get out. That's what we did initially.
These choppers are being used for a lot more than just damage assessment. They're also being used to help keep your businesses and homes on the beach safe at night. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You see this spotlight over here? It's a biggie, 10 million candles worth. And when used in conjunction with this infrared camera back here, I'll tell you what, they work like a charm when you turn out the lights.
This is what the beach looks like by night, the chopper's spotlight fixed on the buildings below, and anybody who might be helping themselves to unprotected furniture or appliances that can be salvaged. These guys are looking for looters, and even from hundreds of feet above the beach, the chopper's infrared will sense the heat, picking up anybody who's in an area that's been locked down.
If you find somebody prowling around one of these shopping centers or prowling around some home or in a destroyed area like we have down on the beach, that pilot observed that heat object with a sensor. He calls the ground unit, and then they converge on the area and determine what it is.
But it's the daylight hours that reveal the true temperament of Hurricane Opal. From the air, it's easy to see it was the water, the storm surge, not the wind, that caused most of the damage along the beach, and that's why just across Front Beach Road, many of the houses, restaurants, and motels are in relatively good shape. Even Lieutenant Fender will tell you it could have been a lot worse.
Actually, I expected to see a lot more damage. It appears that the majority of the damage occurred right on the coastline, and if you were a mile or so inland, your house would still be there. You might have water damage, but I really expected to see a lot worse.
For the next several days, even weeks, you'll probably hear the whir of helicopters in the sky as deputies like Fender and Crippen patrol the beach, a small but vital link in a massive nationwide effort now, doing their best to help all of us when we need it most. On Panama City Beach, John Sherman, News Channel 7.
Law officers have been telling us throughout the week that the number of looting arrests has been minimal. But one of those looters was caught with the infrared camera on that Friday night flight that we just showed you.
Well, throughout Opal's aftermath, we heard countless stories about people pulling together in the time of need. We also heard some warnings about how some businesses might take advantage of the low supplies and the high demand and charge some unreasonable prices.
In fact, on Monday, the state of Florida filed a civil suit against a truck stop in Bay County. John Sherman visited the scene of the alleged crime.
Carrie Cox spent this afternoon raking up her Bayou George yard, all the debris Opal left behind. It's hot in the afternoon sun, but Cox was even hotter last Thursday when she went to this BP station at the intersection of 231 and Highway 20. She says they charged her $6 for 2 bags of ice and a 2-liter bottle of Coke.
I had my 2-year-old with me, and we had to have something to drink and some ice, and then she wants to, charge outrageous prices. And most of the people there, I'm sure, were just about down to their last dollars from, the ATMs and banks being down and it being so sudden that they had to get out. And, it was ridiculous.
And you felt like you had to pay it?
Yeah, I had to. We had to have it.
Cox says she and scores of other people came over here to the Highway 231 truck stop to buy the essentials because they were waiting in line on 231 to get back to their homes. She says the woman running the place was right here at the front door charging whatever came to mind on items that in fact were still marked the regular price. The state's Attorney General office reports at least 20 formal complaints filed against the Highway 231 truck stop, all for price gouging.
They literally raised the price of everything. Absolutely raised the price of everything.
Everything, complaints show, including 99-cent bags of ice, raised to $2, 75 cents for a 25-cent package of crackers, $2.50 for a $1.09 bottle of Coke, even $15 for a 6-pack of batteries. We walked into the store to find a flustered clerk who denies knowing anything about it.
The owners aren't here.
What do the owners say about the accusations of price gouging?
I don't know. I haven't talked to her.
Are they aware of the accusations?
I have no idea. I haven't talked to anybody.
As for Carrie Cox, she'll tell you it's easier to rake away the remnants of Opal than it is the memory of getting ripped off at the Highway 231 truck stop. And she's hoping the state prosecutes the owners of the store.
I think she's scum. I really do. I think that, to take the situation and turn it into a moneymaker is pathetic.
The Highway 231 truck stop has denied the price gouging charges. It says it was rounding up prices because people didn't have the proper change. Price gouging can result in fines of up to $1,000 per complaint.
And while a few people might overcharge customers following a big storm, other businesses simply want to get back to some semblance of normalcy. That's certainly the case with the tourism business.
The Panama City area relies heavily on dollars spent by tourists who come to visit the world's most beautiful beaches. News Channel 7's Cynthia Demas tells us tourism leaders have been fielding phone calls because the visitors also have a stake in Opal's aftermath. They want to know when they can come back.
We were allowed to come back. My tears were rolling down my cheeks to see the terrible devastation.
The devastation of the Surf High Inn and the damages it suffered when caught in the high surf of Hurricane Opal.
Even though you have insurance, it's going to be a loss because of the tremendous amount of work that is needed, time.
Like other businesses on the beach, the Surf High is trying to recover, but officials will tell you Hurricane Opal washed away our tourism business, at least for now.
Obviously, our product, the way we presented in the past, is not what we have to offer now. Most importantly, it's going to be devastating to the community, not only Panama City Beach, but all of Bay County, the tremendous loss of revenue based on what tourism has been bringing to our community. We don't have the product offered anymore like we used to have.
What we used to have isn't quickly forgotten. Panama City Beach is known for the sun, fun, and that powder white sand. But take a look now. That powder has turned hard, covered with dirt and debris. But ask folks around here and they'll tell you these are still the most beautiful beaches in the world. You just need to look beneath the debris to find that out.
And you know what was beautiful? The people all helped each other. It was like, whoever was in trouble, everybody was coming out.
Coming out to shovel up, sweep up, and clean up.
Workers have been here around the clock. They actually swept all of this sand in this pile off of the patio. Now they're trying to even it back out onto the beach and get their business back to normal so they can open up.
I wonder if people will come in for the winter guests. Will they come?
And will they flourish the economy? That's the million-dollar question.
Without the revenue from the beach, it's going to be a very tough year, and it's going to be a long year in building back. And I think we're all going to feel it. We're all going to have to share in it, and all going to tighten the belt. But it's going to be a tough year. But the beaches come back before. We'll come back again.
Back to this scene, one folks haven't seen in days, though to some, it feels like years.
And we all know part of the beachfront tourism business revolves around the clubs and the nightlife. One such popular club recently went through a facelift, only to see Opal come and spoil the party.
Reporter Ben Roberts has more from the place most people call the Breakers.
From the front, this popular Panama City beach night spot appears to have weathered the storm without much damage. But from the beach side, Breakers is clearly broken.
A lot of people aren't going to let themselves be stopped by one storm. You know, I think they just keep coming back.
Workers were trying to salvage what they could, but afternoon rains made the work too dangerous.
Up in the VIP station, you can tell where it's cracking. It's squeaking a little bit now with the rain coming down, so you know, we're just quitting working for today.
These workers don't know when or even if Breakers will be rebuilt. Meantime, about 50 employees are out of work.
A lot of people are going to, you know, towards the unemployment line. There's not a whole lot left in town as far as the beach area to go ahead and gain employment.
Opal has killed Panama City's tourist industry, at least for a while, but these workers are confident the beach and Breakers will come back to life.
While the damage to property and buildings is readily apparent following the hurricane, the big storm took a big toll on the beaches and other parts of our surroundings as well.
And because the hurricane season is not yet over, a number of people are worried because the beaches can act as buffers, and it's a lot different now. Bobby Ray Cardwell takes a look.
The destruction to the area's environment is just as great, if not worse, than the destruction of homes. Some, like Cecil Dykes, see it easier than others. He says the damage to the St. Andrews State Park and protected beaches all along the Florida Panhandle is devastating.
It will take years and years and years. It has taken decades for the sand dune system to build what they were. Right ahead of me is an area where the primary sand dunes was completely eroded away.
The pass is still passable, but the area around the jetties that used to support sea life is now filled with sand from the dunes and dying palm trees. The sand dunes are nature's seawalls, protecting the homes and roads behind them. Many of the dunes could not withstand the force of Opal. Some standing will not withstand the force of another hurricane of the same strength. With another tropical storm on the horizon, Captain Bob Douglas of the Florida Marine Patrol fears the worst.
It would be devastating. If we get another storm at this time, it would be devastating. Environmentally, it could be disastrous.
Hurricane Opal destroyed just as many seawalls as she did sand dunes. The woman who used to live here built on top of this seawall for protection. Hurricane Opal destroyed the seawall and her house. With a new storm out in the Gulf, she's now worried about her neighbors.
Yes, if another one comes in, I am. I worry about them as much as I would be worrying about my own.
What do you think about what's going to happen when this new storm comes, or if it does, rather?
If the new storm comes in, it'll really be bad. It's as strong as the last, because we're a lot weaker.
The damage to homes can be rebuilt soon. The damage to the environment, however, may take years to rebuild.
Panama City is famous for its T-shirts, and while many businesses are still trying to regroup from the effects of Opal, one small business was founded on the storm. These T-shirts were being sold this week on Highway 98 near Jenks Avenue. The T-shirts included a map of the Southeast with the Eye of Opal right over our section of Northwest Florida. The spirit of free enterprise continues to grow, even in the face of adversity.
And that's not the only shirt that's available. There's another T-shirt that's available with the proceeds going to the Red Cross and the Salvation Army here in Panama City. This is what this second shirt looks like, and you'll note at the very bottom there is a notation that a portion of the proceeds will go to the Red Cross and the Salvation Army here in Panama City. Those shirts are available at various locations throughout Northwest Florida, and can also be picked up at the Red Cross Chapter House on East 15th Street here in Panama City.
In a word, there are three things that last forever: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love.
Sometimes in life, a strong wind blows that can turn your world upside down. So many tears, so many fears. When will we be on safer ground? There's only one power with hammer in hand. There's only one answer, the heart understands. Love can build anything. It's the hope after the fall. Love can build everything. Only love will build it all. Love is stronger than a hurricane. It can calm the stormy seas. Love is strong enough to heal the pain and finally bring us peace. Oh, there's only one power with hammer in hand. There's only one answer, the heart understands. Love can build anything. It's the hope after the fall. Love can build everything. Only love will build it all. Build your dream, build your home, build your faith, you're not alone. Plant a seed, hand in hand, we can build a promised land. Love can build anything. It's the hope after the fall. Love can build everything now. Only love will build it all. Only love will build it all. Yeah, build it all. Love. Oh, I'm talking about love. Sing it all together now. We can do it. What we really need is love. Sing it now. Love can build anything. Only love we can find a way back home.
It's been a long time since Northwest Florida has seen a storm like Hurricane Opal. And more than a week after Opal hit this area, a lot of people in Bay County were still cleaning up and trying to put their belongings and their lives back together. Photographer Kenny Thaxton and I spent some time walking the streets at Panama City Beach.
It is, Joe. You know, we put my wife and I and the kids 21 years of our life into this hotel, and it just spent $1 million on renovating last year, so it's kind of a tough blow to come back and see half of it, you know, laid over on its side. The 5-story withheld the storm. It did real good. Very little damage did except for the downstairs and the second floor. So we'll get it back in operation in about a month and probably just, put this one back. You'd be newer and better than ever before.
This was the front door. This is the front door step here?
This is the front door step. There's the front door. The house extended out there to that palm tree. On down and joined where the piling is sitting down there. Then on across. Those pilings are in there. I put them in after Hurricane Eloise back in '75. And they held it up there, but the house tore off.
Is that what happened? The wind just whipped it up?
Well, the wind and the surge came in here, charging in under the pilings. It came in under there, but when it got back to the slab, the old part of the house was on the slab still, and it just had nowhere to go but up, and just went up and dropped the ceiling and everything. No, I didn't think it'd be this bad. I certainly didn't. I drove down, came out Thursday night, and came to Back Beach Road, drove down about where that mailman is up there, and walked down here with a flashlight. It was pitch dark. Couldn't even find a house at first. I started passing along here and there wasn't anything. I got over against the garage and saw that the whole house was gone.
Car over here?
That's her car. That's my wife's car, and mine's parked out
See,
there.
we left in his.
We left here in his,
And
in mine.
if we had known what we know now, we would have taken it over.
And what it does is pick it up.
We just floated it right out of the garage and turned it
Through a
around.
locked garage door. And our garage door.
There was a door there, and it just turned around. Above the water level, and all it did was come in and take out all the garage walls and everything inside. And most of them, the washer and dryers, were down here, and they're gone. And I had a shop right over there, and all my tools are gone.
All his fishing.
All my fishing got.
Well, everything out of my garage and storeroom and my laundry room is a total loss. The air conditioner's gone, and the power is the biggie because all of the transformers were bulldozed away by Gulf Power the other day so that we wouldn't blow up when the power came up. And we don't have hope of having power anytime real soon.
We're getting it cleaned up right now and trying to get back into business as fast as we can.
This was part of the building right here to your right, to my left, down here on the beach.
Down this side, we lost the kitchen and the storage rooms and all the support for our food operation. Over that way, we took that out. That was still standing. We took it out because it was not up to par, but we're going to rebuild that stronger and better than ever.
Your contractor was telling us just a short while ago you've already hauled off 25 tons of debris?
25 tons of debris we got in here and had front-end loaders and everything. I think the front-end loaders right over there is going to come back in today, get all this off the beach.
Okay, now you're moving right along. You're already working. What's the timetable for getting Pineapple Willie's reopened?
We hope to have 100% open by mid-February. All my contractors are lined and contracted, and the architect's coming in, flying in from Huntsville on Monday, and we'll get those plans done and get all the permitting and everything done and get right back into operation as fast as possible.
And you have the pier here. It's about the only pier in Bay County that wasn't damaged.
Yeah, our pier is built real strong. It didn't move at all. We've got about 2 or 3 boards popped up, but it withstood it like a champ.
the back side of it, it took all three of our offices. They're completely gone. The back deck is completely gone, and a tiki bar that we had on the east end is completely gone. Kitchen is, the end of the kitchen got cut off, but we can, like I said, that's something we can add back on. It's not part of the original structure.
12 noon curfew.
Really?
Yes.
Looks pretty rough.
That's why I said 12 noon.
That's right.
many lessons can be learned during times of adversity. And while Hurricane Opal made life very unpleasant for many of us, it also reminded us of the spirit of giving and the cooperation that makes Northwest Florida such a great place to live.
It might take a time for our area to look the way that it did before Opal, but the road to recovery is already being traveled. And before we leave you this evening, we'd like to say thanks to everyone who has come in to help in Northwest Florida from the outlying areas, and to our families who had to evacuate without us and come back and take care of all the things while we were working. And a special thanks to David Miller and his staff at the Emergency Operations Center for an outstanding job. And of course our staff here at News Channel 7, outstanding job there. We can't thank them enough.
Working around the clock.
Around the clock
many,
for
many
over a
days.
week now,
Yes,
and we might let them go home and sleep later tonight.
Maybe.
It's been quite a time for us with Hurricane Opal, but for the entire News Channel 7 staff, I'm Joe Moore.
And I'm Neysa Wilkins. Thanks for joining us. Good night.